right, welcome back to another episode of Brew Better. Today we have a special episode for you as I'll be doing a breakdown of my Brewer's Cup routine / preparation. So let's get into it. What you need for today: you need your kettle, you need a plastic V60, craft, scale, coffee, something to catch your brewer once you're done brewing. You need a cup to drink out of. I have a cocktail pick that I'm using to hold down my filter. We'll get into that later. And I use the Timemore Sculptor 078. And you'll need various filters for testing. So for filter consideration, I went through various filters, different material, shapes, companies, manufacturers, etc. And I landed on these two filters. So I was up until the competition day, we had these two filters as the top contenders. We have the Abaca coffee filter here. This is a different wood, non-wood material. I'm not too sure on the details, but with this filter, it promoted more of a juicy acidity, but we went with this filter on game day, the TH3 specialty coffee paper. So this paper has large surface area, or that created for us a very well-balanced, high body, very nice cup. Now for our actual filter folding, I'll show you, we always do our fold on the line. Just like that. So in the Brewer's Cup, you have to brew 3 cups at the same time. So I have a cocktail pick here to help me rinse my filters. So I put it right on the seam where it pushes up, and then I rinsed my filter. And with this move, all the filters are very consistently placed. Sometimes you can have your filter pop up on the side, and that's something we didn't want to risk. So, and then you can use a spoon or whatever, just have it holding your filter down as you rinse it. Works every time. And the reason I chose to wet or rinse my filter for this competition, twofold reasons. Number one, preheat everything. It heats the plastic, it heats the carafe, but also it rinses out the paper flavor from the filter, and it helps us with our extraction. You want to dump your rinsed water? Next step was the grinder choice. So we have many options. I landed with the Timemore 078 for 2 reasons. The big reason was I didn't have to hand grind it, consistency there. But this grinder has RPM control, so I turned it down all the way to the minimum RPM, and this would help me reduce the fines. The other nice thing with this grinder, I'll show you right after we grind it. So we'll turn that on. Our grind setting was 9. The best part about this grinder is it helps hold this. It's essentially super microfines and chaff, something I did not want in my brew. I actually did collect enough of this to make a brew, and that coffee was more flat, didn't have any acidity or low acidity or just sharp. I just knew this stuff was not, I didn't need this in my cup. And that's why this grinder is great. So my recipe for the V60 here, it was 15 grams of coffee to 240 grams water. So where we live in Calgary, water boils at 96 degrees Celsius. But where the competition was held, we got up to 100 degrees Celsius, as Calgary is at elevation, so our water cannot reach 100 degrees. So once we were in Montreal, we had to experiment with our recipe yet again, and we landed on a water temperature of 99 degrees Celsius. This helped us extract a lot more of the tastiness in our cup. All right, so for coffee choice, we landed on a Hacienda La Esmeralda natural and washed Geisha. I decided to blend a 70-30 ratio of natural to washed. I found the natural to be very sweet, very extremely nice body, but it was lacking a little bit in complexity, but also the aftertaste, it was not long enough for my liking. So I decided to mix in a 30% of the same lot, washed process, to extend that finish, but also add the complexity that I need for the Brewer's Cup. So this recipe does follow a lot of the things we said in the simple V60 technique, as that is my go-to recipe. It's very consistent, and I do like the cup it produces. So to start, we're gonna be going 96-degree water. Start the timer. We're gonna start in the middle and pour very slow circles out until we hit the 60-gram mark. So in my routine, I didn't articulate enough about how my flow rate would be creating the cup. So actually we start with a slower flow rate at around 8 grams per second. And this is to make sure each part of our coffee bed is saturated and prepare that for extraction. At the 50-second mark, we're gonna be increasing that flow rate and weight. So 80 more grams until we hit 140. So with this recipe, we increase our flow rate, but also the water we're adding. And this is to increase the extraction, as there's less to extract as the brew goes on. So we need to make this extract as efficiently as possible. That's why we have the increased flow rate, increased water weight, and the high water temperature. At the 1 minute 50 mark, we're going to be adding the final pulse of 100 grams, taking us all the way to 240. Again, in the middle, slowly out, increasing that flow. So when I'm pouring, we do the slow circles outwards, and this is to control that agitation. We want agitation, but we want it to be controlled. So you can't be going too quickly, because you also want it to be repeatable as you're brewing 3 cups. Total brew time was 3 minutes 20, and take it off, set that aside, and that's my brewer's cup. Makes a great cup. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Brew Better. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. I don't even know where the buttons are.